My name is Marmalade, and welcome back to Behind the Seams, my review show of RuPaul's Drag Race UK Series 7. And brace, everyone brace. We're at the design challenge. This is a bit of a triggering episode for me. A lot of memories, a lot of accusations of workload, percentages, who made whose suit, who hot glued what hat, who won a lip sync to Tension by Kylie Minogue. Well, I do know the answer to that one, and it certainly wasn't me. But also, this is a very exciting episode for me. I love the design challenge, as you can probably imagine, and I'm so excited to look at what the queens do when they've got no help from a designer, from their friends, when they haven't got custom wigs, custom jewellery, specific shoes made for the outfit. They have to truly go into their drag and style it themselves and build it from the ground up. And it really gives you an idea of who has taste and who has a Pinterest account and some money. But before I begin, I do want to say a massive thank you for everyone who watched the last video. It was my first ever adventure into YouTube. I went in a little bit blind and I didn't know what to expect. I thought, you know, I'll get a couple hundred views and we'll call it a day. But for so many people who watched it and for all the positive feedback, I realised I'm going to have to do it again. But I'm so excited to do it again. It's so much fun. And I can't wait to do it again now. So yes, a quick sip of my tea. Oh, lovely and hot. I guess we just launched into the episode. My name is Marmalade, this is RuPaul's Drag Race UK Series 7 Episode 2, and come with me as I take you behind the seams. Okay, so first up it's Celexa, and I didn't just want to have a look at their runway looks, I also wanted to have a look at their walkthroughs with Ru and sort of what they were designing. I feel like on my season I was very successful at translating my image to my design. So let's see if these girls can do the same. So Celexa drew a few designs, and I loved all of them. Looking at these designs, I could tell she could pull all of them off. So that made me very excited for what she was going to produce. Okay, so looking at Celexa's runway, what I do love about this is it feels, there's like a maturity to it. There's like an elevated feeling, given the sort of the materials they were given. It doesn't feel juvenile, which we can't say for some of the other designs. I could really see this was someone who sews, someone who has made stuff for their body and sort of knows how they're trying to look, which I really appreciated. What I will say is, I think it was a mistake to take on making a corset. So on Drag Race, you get maybe 8 hours to make an outfit, which is enough time, but not enough time to go crazy. And there are certain items, such as a corset, that just take a lot of time for not much payoff as far as clothing is concerned. So this corset will have taken a couple hours to make, and yet you're only covered from here to there. In the same way, you can make a full-length dress in half the time, and visually it's just more impressive, if that makes sense. This corset it's beautiful and it really shows that she can sew. I love the headpiece. I love that she's got a choker that matches. But I just think it wasn't worth the payoff. So she hasn't made a panty to go with it, which sort of jumps out at me. Also, the metallic gold that she's chosen, unless that is made perfectly and laid perfectly flat, it's going to highlight any mistake. I'm noticing here there are construction issues that I know she wouldn't have in her other outfits had she had more time. So I think that's a little unfortunate. Oh, I also love this train at the back, this cape. It sort of looks a little bit transparent and I really love that detail. Overall, I enjoy it. I just know, I think she said in the episode, I know she can create better looks than this. I mean, it's only episode 2 and we've already seen better looks from her. So it would have been great for her to like come forward and take this challenge, but it's a strong, safe look for this category. So next up we have Bones. So during Bones' walkthrough, I was very interested by her design, because it didn't look like it took much fabric. It looked like it required a lot of structure, which at Drag Race you are limited to the sewing resources you have outside of the fabrics they give you. So creating that sort of structure is really the challenge. So I was very interested to see how she was going to do, especially for someone that doesn't sew, or doesn't sew a lot as far as I'm aware. But I was interested by it, I was very interested by it. And I've got to say, Bones, if you're watching, I love this. I think this is genius. It is so beautifully made. I can't believe that it's yoga mats. I love that you... I'm speaking to you now, Bones. I love that you've painted it. I even love like the details of the heart. It's so artistically done. I think when she first came out, I was like wishing it was like more of a thong cut, but then I went, no, it's Polly Pocket. There's something playful about it. And what I really enjoy about it more than anything, my concern with Bones is that she's very fashionable, but she feels very serious. I was worried there wouldn't be a playful side to her. And it's so great to see episode 2, we're seeing like a sense of humour in her fashions, which I really enjoy. Also, something very clever, you can't quite tell from this picture, but because she's not corseted padded, the way she's cut the tails of the bow, it curves in just at her waist and then like goes out. So when she stood up straight, it gives her the suggestion of like a waist definition. That is very smart. Very, very smart. I think the styling is perfect. I love this hair. I love it. Sort of like it's this 60s moment that perfectly suits the outfit. I will say with the makeup, this is a bit of a pet peeve of mine. Drag queens doing 2 different colour eyes because they're wearing a 2-tone look. She's got one eye that's pink, one eye that's purple. The issue here is because those colours are so similar, from a distance, it kind of looks like it's a mistake. The outfit is so like pleasingly symmetrical. I don't think it needs it. This was exciting. Do you know what this proves? It's not a sewing challenge. It's a design challenge. I think people get caught up in feeling the need to sew something. No, you just have to get to the finish line. If you get there, who cares how you've done it? And Bones has done that perfectly. Truly, if this came out on like a Moschino runway, I'd buy it. Moschino did this Barbie collection, I can't remember when, but this would like fit straight into that. Well done, Bones. Very impressed. Very impressed. So next up we have Elle Vosk, and she is doing this Bob Mackie for Cher sort of design. I was very interested when I saw the design. It's deceptively difficult. The way Bob Mackie works, it's not random, it's not covering anything up. Everything is like hand placed, and it's like shaped to follow the line of the breast, to follow the line down like the hip, like around the waist. Like it's all very specific the way he works. So I was very interested to see how Elle was going to do. Also with this boa as well. The issue I have is that from a distance you lose the sense of a silhouette. And that's the thing with Bob's, is that you don't lose the silhouette because he's thought about that. Whilst I love the colour palette, I love the way it's cut at the top. I love the way that that's sort of mirrored in the way the bottom is cut. I don't even mind the shoes, even though I usually hate those like drag platform pleasers. I don't mind the shoes here. And I think this boa has been very successful. But all of it together at the top of the runway, it kind of all merges. And you do start to lose the sense of a shape. It was only when she walked closer I went, oh, I see it now. I can see all the little pieces. I love the hair with it. I think I enjoy all the styling. She's got a fishnet on, I really appreciate that. I just wish she had taken more time to sculpt all those pieces and like properly lay them down in a way that felt more interesting. I'm losing her silhouette in this, and I want to see that, especially after Titanic last week. I want to see Elle. I want to see some definition on the runway. But again, it's beautiful, and it's a lovely, safe look for this category. Next up, we have Bonnie and Clyde, and this design, I really get a clear sense of her vision in drag, and it's a lot of the similar references that I sort of look at. So I was very excited with this one, and she did say she was taught to sew by Chanel O'Connor, and you know what? Whatever you want to say about Chanel, my sister, I can say one thing about Chanel. She is an incredible seamstress and a very good teacher. I had high hopes for her skill set, and when I saw the design, I was like, okay, good. She has vision. She knows the shape she's going for. She knows the silhouette. And so when she came out, okay, let me start with what I like. I really loved the hair and the makeup. For how big the wig was, it just felt like weightless. I love the stoles off this arm. I love that they're not in like one clump like you normally see them. I really enjoyed the animal print. What animal is that? Is that a tiger? I'm going to say it's a tiger. The tiger print of the outfit, and I love the asymmetry with the arm. Now this is where it starts to fall apart. First of all, I wish the neckline had been cut a little bit wider so that we got more skin. It starts right at the side of her neck. And also, Draping can be difficult if you've not done it before, but that drape, I just wish the drape could be more beautiful. It looks a little bit tortured. Then she's decided, for whatever reason, to put this gold, like, organza chiffon type of fabric around her waist. That is the last place to put any bulk. The waist above anything needs to be kept clear. She's taken all this time to like shape her body, and then she's just sort of wrapped this gold fabric. I think I would have left the gold as, like, completely, because it's on the hem, and I think this was maybe a case of feeling like I need to do something so that I've ticked the box of doing the challenge, and it's just a little bit too much. I mean, that fabric at the knee, it's such an unfortunate place to like cut the dress, and then to introduce that fabric. She said that she had extra fabric, but she chose to do it. Like, it does just read as though she's like run out of fabric. To top it all off, the length is just a little bit too short. I just want to go up to her and just take pieces off and just like grab that off the waist. I would even taken that entire bit off the bottom and just have a knee length skirt before I would have had that. Yeah. However, I will say this. Bonnie has a very clear vision here, and that is something I really appreciate. I think above anything else, above being able to create beautiful clothing, being the best sewer, any of that, it's about vision and about what you can do when you're left to your own devices. And I do really see Bonnie's vision here. It could be worse, but it was promising. It was promising. So next we have Tayris, and Tayris was the one with the design. I couldn't really tell what it was going to be. It sort of looked like this like bodysuit with gloves. I didn't get the vision of it, and it made me a little bit worried, just because, as I was saying, I think it's the point of view that comes through and what I personally appreciate in a design challenge. So I was a bit unsure about her point of view for this. But I will say I was pleasantly surprised by the outfit she ended up creating. I really enjoy the fit. Tayris is someone who was smart, and she clearly came with her patterns, because this bodysuit fits her perfectly. The line across the chest is very beautiful. Also, I noticed with her gloves, she has like a thumb, and then these are all open, and then she has nails. I love that shape. I think it's like really successful. It's interesting. I think she had it for her entrance look as well, where she sort of had a glove, but you could see her nails. I really enjoy that. I love the Diana Ross reference. I think it's a great reference for her. I love the hair. I will say, if I'm going to be nitpicky, the skirt, I don't dislike the skirt portion. I love the way that it sort of, her hip pokes out. I love that aspect of it. The bodysuit itself is an asymmetrical bodysuit, so I wouldn't have gone for a symmetrical skirt. I would have instead moved that to the opposite hip and done more of a skirt that was more like substantial. Or alternatively, I would have done a symmetrical top. I don't know that the skirt and the bodysuit quite go together. They're not miles off. It doesn't look bad by any means. I guess they could just match slightly more. Do you know what it feels like? It feels like she made the bodysuit and then she went, right, this isn't enough. I need a skirt. I need a something. Yeah, the skirt feels like a little bit of an afterthought. But aside from that, I really enjoy it. I love the pearl details. I like the shoe. So yes, very good job, Tayris. Next we have Nine Bella, and I was very excited by this design. I loved the point of view. I think a showgirl really suits with what I've seen from her so far. I'm thinking a lot of her entrance look, which for me is probably the most successful outfit she's had thus far. So now to the execution. Okay, firstly, it's very clear that she doesn't sew. It's very clear that that is a bra covered with fabric, and you can sort of see the construction isn't great. I don't want to judge them too much on the construction. I'm more interested in the vision. However, the construction on like the bra, when it is such a small outfit, I guess, those sort of details have to be there. And I can really see the rough edges with this one. The headdress, I enjoy the ingenuity of it being out of an umbrella. However, this is a small thing. She's got all these like raindrops on it. She's missing raindrops on the front one. It does look like they've fallen off. Remove the necklace. It's sort of, she's got this choker, then big earrings, a tie under the chin from the headpiece, then the big hair. She looks really like congested here. It feels like she's got her shoulders raised almost. The skirt does look a little bit like a rectangle of fabric that she has just tied, which, I'm not gonna lie, I think that's probably what has happened here. And there's something about the cut of the skirt at the front that just sort of covered her legs as she was walking. She has gorgeous legs, and like in her Marie Antoinette outfit, in her hometown outfit, they just sort of shrunk her down. And this skirt, it's not shrinking her, but it just isn't accentuating how gorgeous her legs are, I guess. So it was fine. It was like a perfectly safe outfit. But I think this one, more than a lot of the other ones, I could really see how it had been made. It was okay. It was okay. Not her best. But certainly not the worst of the night. So next up we had Katrin. I know for a fact that girl hasn't sewn a day in her life. So I was very interested to see what she was going to make. And when she said she was going to do this punk look, initially I was a bit unsure about it, but it felt like a concept, it felt like a point of view, it was an idea, and I really appreciated that, and I was very excited to see what she was going to produce. Now I've got to say, I was very, very pleasantly surprised with this. There's something very charming about it. I like that it's sort of punk, but it's done in the way that Katrin would do it. It feels like Katrin's character still. I enjoy the layering on the skirt. I think it's just the right number of fabrics. I like that then in comparison the top's quite plain. I really enjoy these cuff bits. It almost feels like it shouldn't work there, but somehow it does. There was one thing, the seam between the sleeve and the shoulder. On this side she had like, on one side she had like covered it, but on the other side you could just see the seam. And sort of going from like this leather PVC fabric to this sort of sheer purple. I just sort of didn't want to see that seam. Also, the skirt length I think could just be up a little bit. I think what she's done is she's probably taken a petticoat she's had and made it to the length of the petticoat, which does make sense, especially where her boot cuts on like her knee. It's just they sort of meet, and it doesn't, height-wise, it doesn't do her the most favours, but it's certainly not a disaster. What I did appreciate about this a lot is that there's like an asymmetry to it, but it's very nicely balanced. On the one side, she has the chain, and she knew to do that on the opposite side to where she had all the interest on the skirt. I would say with this outfit, she's never going to win the design challenge. It's not a winning look. I think it gets the job done. So yes, she said on the episode she hopes she does me proud, and I can confirm, Katrin, you have done me proud. Just about. Just about. Next up, we have Pasty. Now, how do I put this? I was determined I wasn't going to be mean filming this. I'm going to still try and do that, but Pasty, you are making it very difficult with this outfit. Okay, the second she said she was doing a disco look, I was like, wrong choice. Disco looks, they've been rather unsuccessful on Drag Race. They're difficult to do without them looking sort of dated. You've got to be very creative with how you do them. And when she showed the design, my thought was, I was like, cute, but I hope it's more than just that. And then she came out. First issue, there was a technical sewing issue that Pasty has made. Look at the picture of it. Do you see how the one side of the fabric looks darker on the top than the other side? And that has happened because Pasty, you have cut one of these panels upside down. With velvet, there's a brush to it. So when you cut your pattern pieces out of a velvet fabric, you really need to make sure that all those pattern pieces are facing in the same direction, like on the grain of the fabric. Otherwise, they look different colours because the light hits them in a different way. So that was immediately what jumped out at me. I didn't love the neckline. It felt rather uninteresting. There were a lot of fit issues. The flares start at a very strange place on her arm. I don't quite know how she has gotten the hem of those flares so wonky. It's so much longer in the front. I'm very impressed by how she's done that because I don't even know how you make that mistake. My biggest issue with this, I don't see any vision with it. I don't see the direction she was going in. I think it's a misconception with these challenges that it's a sewing challenge. It's not. It's a design challenge. And I think Pasty's downfall here is she got caught up in the fact of, I've got this bodysuit pattern, I can't be one of those queens that doesn't sew, so I'm going to sew something. And then what's happened is she's made, no offence, but a very boring outfit. The whole point of like sewing your own costumes is first of all so they fit you correctly, and second of all so that it's interesting. It's something that nobody else has. This sort of looks like a bodysuit you could order online, which really defeats the entire purpose of sewing your own clothes. They always say you can't just hot glue things to a corset. I don't agree with that. I think knowing her and knowing her drag, she would have made something so much more interesting if she had taken a corset and hot glued things to it. The black shoe I don't love. The chains aren't big enough. They kind of just look a bit sad. Love you, Pasty, but this... I really didn't like this. I really didn't like this. Next up, we have page 3. So I was very excited by Paige's outfit, actually. I could see the vision. I liked the idea of these cutouts. I liked the silhouette. And I was very interested to see how she was going to make those happen. And also, she got the season 6 pile of fabric. So I was very interested to see how she was going to interpret my season. I had slight concerns when she came out, just because I could tell there was a lot of work that had been put into it. But there were several fit issues. Also the placement of the circles, there was a really small one up here, then there was like nothing, and then like 2 big ones at the bottom. I think she could have had one in the middle. I think this one could have been bigger. I loved when she turned around and you could see her bum. I didn't love the writing on it. It said like toxic. And Paige, I gave you a pass for the writing on your entrance look with your name. I let you get away with it last week, but this week I'm going to call it out. I enjoyed the idea of this bodysuit underneath. There were some fit issues. I think the thong of it could have cut in a bit more. It was slightly nappy sort of shape. I love the bra cups. I love the cross that then went into this sort of collar. Oh, and I love the green. I love that she'd customized this fabric. I think she must have taken spray paint or something. I just wish both parts were fine. I wish she just combined them. I wish she had done a floor-length dress, but with this interesting neckline. The first dress, because it was like a bit shapeless, it almost felt like cover-up apron that then revealed to this. Paige, I thought you were going to do rubbish. I thought she was going to do so terrible. I was pleasantly surprised. Oh, these black rings on the hair. Hate. Hey, I don't know what's going on there. I don't know if you did that yourself. I don't know if it was on the wig. That just felt like a detail that wasn't needed. Take that off. Oh, I also love the gloves, and I love that they sort of peeled away at the wrist. So yeah, not terrible. A lot better than I was expecting. Okay, so next up we have Viola. When she showed her design, I was very intrigued, because when I first saw it, I thought those like spider legs were gonna like stand up by themselves, and I thought, okay, if she does like a really gorgeous like gown, I thought, okay, she's got this. I'm really looking forward to this. I think Viola's issue here was that she had the concept, she got the fabric, and she stuck too closely to an idea. She had such tunnel vision that she didn't think of it as what is the final thing. So she had this idea for spider arms, which in theory is cool, but in practicality it looks like a children's Halloween costume. Another issue she's made is that she's chosen a black fabric. Okay, so anybody going on TV, black fabric never looks as good on camera as it does in person, and it's because black swallows light, so you can't really make out the detail. And especially with this fabric that had sort of like a raised like sequin effect on it, it was sort of there but you couldn't see it, so it just made the fabric look like it had like a lot of bulk to it. Now she's got these arms on her back, and then she's done a dress that has like a cowl neck, and because a cowl neck is like drapes, it just kind of looks like it's been made badly, especially around the waist, around the hips. It throws all of her proportions off. Also the cut of the skirt and then the black pump, there's something about it that just looks frumpy, I guess. I also didn't love that the arms were connected by this like cobweb. If you're going to do it, it needs to be like a clear fishing wire. She looks like she's selling black puddings, like she's opened a coat and she's selling sausages. I'm sure the construction on this is beautiful, but the impact isn't there. But hey, think about the lovely dress she wove last week. Wasn't that beautiful, everyone? Yes, that was gorgeous. I think I'll keep my mind there. This wasn't great. Okay, so next up we have Chai Tea Grande, and I saw a lot of talk about this outfit online. I think a lot of people felt like it sort of deserved to be in the top. So the design, it felt a little bit nondescript. It felt, I wasn't sure what I was going to get from it, so I couldn't quite tell what she was going to do there. The way it's translated, I enjoy it, but respectfully, I don't think this was robbed of a top placement whatsoever. There was something she said. I think she called it like a crushed velvet or something. I might be wrong. I think she called it a crushed velvet. Chai, this is not crushed velvet. This is... It looks like either a velvet or a velour, but it's not crushed velvet. The silhouette is just a bit simple and plain. I think I need bigger shoulders, more of a focus on a silhouette if you're going to do such like a simple single fabric. The placement of the cushions I think is smart. The issue I have is I'm not in love with the skirt part. It sort of starts at a funny length, sort of below the knee. I appreciate the ingenuity of making sort of like an underskirt structure. That's very difficult, especially on Drag Race when you have limited resources. But there needed to be some sort of netting or padding because you can make out the lines of it. And I didn't love the fur trim either. Also, I noticed when she was walking off, she kind of... I don't know if it was too long, but she sort of had to pick it up so that she could walk off the stage. But it's okay. It's okay. It's okay. It's like a bit of an upside-down prolapse. Which is fierce. Which is fierce. Finally, we are ending on Sally. First of all, when I saw the design, this girl can draw. Oh my gosh, that design was beautiful. It was so well illustrated. I knew exactly what she was doing. And it was like the perfect example of, here's my vision, here's the execution, here's what I can promise you, I know exactly how to do it, and let me do it. This outfit was exquisite. I said I wouldn't do favourites, but this was by far my favourite. First of all, I always love like a bodysuit under a dress. It feels like chic and effortless. Oh, I just threw this on and ran, and I love that vibe. I think the mix of the patterns is like so great, right down to that like really weird, like interesting bustle on the hip in the blue. It's such like a strange choice, and it's such like an unusual placement, but it just works so perfectly. Do you know what it feels? This feels like a lot of strong, bold swings. And all of them were hits. I love that she's gone for a clear heel so you can still see the pattern of the bodysuit underneath. I love this like random like pink leg warmer. Like that shouldn't work, but it just does. I love like the blue spit curl. I love the fascinator. I love the ruffle along the edge of the dress. I think if I could like play around with it, I would love to see like what cutting in that that dress, the line of that dress would do to the shape of it. That's more thinking of like what's the next thing we do with it. Do you know what it is? It feels like it feels like the first time where I'm seeing like crossover from like here's drag fashion like existing in its own like little bubble, and it's on its own planet, and it feels like the first time like I'm seeing like crossover into like real world like fashion. Also Bones a bit this episode, but mainly Sally here, where it feels like something that could exist in the real world, so to speak, like in like a real world like fashion show, and I just love that. It feels curated. It doesn't even feel like she's made all of this for this one look. It feels like these are items that she had on a rail and she like paired them together. She was able to like look at it all and see all these pieces and like pull it together in a very beautiful way. Sally, this is so impressive. I love it, I love it, I love it. What a gorgeous note to end on. Sally, this is beautiful. Well done. Mwah. And that brings us very nicely to the end of the runway looks. Overall, I've got to say, I was very impressed with the looks. Your success can really depend on what materials they give you, and I think people are most successful when you get a good mixture of fabrics and then unconventional materials. And yeah, that brings us to the end. Oh, thank you again so much for joining me for another week of Behind the Seams. Honestly, I have so much fun doing this. Like always, please do not forget to like, to comment, and subscribe. Please comment what you think if you agree with me, and please, like always, please comment if you disagree with me. And yes, subscribe. I think I said that already, but make sure you subscribe. My channel has like grown so much already in 1 week, which I really didn't expect. And I think I want to keep that going. Yeah, let's keep it going. So thank you for joining me. I have been Marmalade, and thank you so, so much for watching. Mwah! Get home safe. Aww.